Hey guys, how's it going? So we're back with another video, and today I wanted to talk about something that kind of goes in line with what we've talked about the last couple of weeks, and that is that your guitar is probably good enough. Now, I know how it is for a lot of us, right? We're always looking online for another guitar, or we're always going to the guitar store, or we're always going to Guitar Center, or our local shop, or looking on Sweetwater, or whatever we might be doing. We might be watching a music video or a performance of one of our favorite guitar players or bands, and we see a guy with a guitar on the stage, and we say, oh, that's really cool. I want to look at, what is that? Oh, it's a 61 SG. I wonder what a 61 SG costs. That's expensive. Let's look at the reissues. And you start going down this rabbit hole, start obsessing over this model of guitar, and a lot of times, if we can afford it, we buy it. I find myself falling into that hole a lot myself. I own over 50 guitars, and that's probably not cool. That's probably not okay. That's probably a little bit excessive, you know? For example, I watched live Right Here, Right Now, Van Halen. This was a few years ago. And Ed had it wasn't a Wolfgang, it was like the Music Man. I think it was just called the Music Man, EVH Music Man. And it got stuck in my head, like, I gotta find one of those. Well, those are prohibitively expensive. So I started looking at the Sterling brand, and I found the Axis. And it wasn't quite what I was looking for. Ended up getting the OLP MM1. There I go, add it to the total. But along the way, I don't ask myself a question that I think we all need to ask ourselves. Do I need it? Is it gonna make me a better guitar player? Does it do anything that what I have right now doesn't do? Is it going to make me play better? Is it going to make me look better on stage? Is it going to look better in photographs? Is it going to sound better on a recording? Is it something that's going to appreciate in value over time, like an investment? Those are the questions that we need to ask ourselves every time we buy a new guitar. So I've been in this cycle for years. I'd say about 4 or 5 years ago, I only owned about 3 guitars. I actually stopped playing for a period of time after I met my wife over a decade ago. I just kind of stopped playing the guitar for 5 or 6 years. And you know, when you meet somebody like that, changes your life, makes you a better person, you forget about stuff sometimes. Guitar was one of those things, believe it or not. One day I went to a storage unit that had a bunch of my stuff in it, opened the storage unit doors, and it was like a scene out of a movie. My white Mexican Fender Strat was leaned against the back wall of the storage unit. It wasn't in a case or a bag, it was just laying there. The bridge was rusted. It had corrosion all over the fingerboard, all the frets were bad. And I looked at it and I thought, this used to mean something. This used to mean something to me. It was kind of like when Rey is trying to give Luke Skywalker his lightsaber back, and he sees it for the first time in a while. It reminds him. Of course, we all know what happened with that trilogy. We're not going to continue talking about that. But it was a similar thing. It was like, that was my Excalibur. That was my weapon of choice. What happened? Picked it up, started playing it again. You know, I still remember it a little bit, but I wasn't very good. So what did I do? It must be the guitar. So I bought another guitar. And I bought another guitar. And then I bought another guitar. And I just kept buying guitars. Now, along the way, I was practicing. I was getting better. I started this YouTube channel, modding the Squire Mustang. And it never stopped. I just kept buying guitars. Every time I could, I bought another guitar, bought another guitar, bought another guitar, bought another guitar. I never gave myself time to appreciate the thing that I had. There are guitars, I hate to admit this, but there are guitars that I own that I played a day or two after I got it, and never played again. Yeah, that's pathetic. And I know that my case is an extreme one. Really what I'm talking to, or who I'm talking to, are those of you out there who maybe own 3 or 4, 5, and you kind of got that bug. Gear acquisition syndrome, guitar acquisition syndrome, whatever you want to call it. I want you to go through the steps that I told you. Next time you want to buy a guitar, ask yourself, does this do anything that what I have now doesn't do? Will it make me a better player? Will it look better on stage? Will it look better in a photograph? Does it enhance my guitarist-ship at all? The second thing I want you to ask yourself is, which guitar is your favorite? And how easy would it be to dethrone that guitar? And can this new guitar do what your favorite guitar can't do? See, for me, I'm going through this right now. That's why I'm making this video. I found a really good deal on a Gibson Les Paul Standard. And I was real close to pulling the trigger. I almost did it. But then I asked myself that question. And I thought about my current favorite. What's your favorite guitar? Well, one of them is right here, right next to me. This is the Big Jake guitar, the Annihilator. I built this myself. It's a Warmoth neck, Les Paul scale length conversion neck. It's got a really, really, really fat neck profile. It has an original 80s Floyd Rose that I drilled and put on it myself, Seymour Duncan Invader, and an American Telecaster neck pickup. That's my favorite guitar right now. And my second favorite guitar is an Epiphone, believe it or not. I own 5 Gibsons, but it's an Epiphone. Les Paul Standard 50s. It's a gold top. And I asked myself, can this Gibson Les Paul that you want to buy, Gibson Les Paul Standard 50s, can it fill a void for you? Can it do something that those other 2 guitars can't do? Would you take it on stage over one of those 2 guitars? Now, obviously, will you take a Gibson on stage over an Epiphone? 99 times out of 100, of course. Recording? 99 times out of 100, of course. But can it do something that my Epiphone can't do? I think it probably sounds better. It probably feels better. Definitely holds its value better. In fact, if I buy this guitar for the price that it's advertised at right now, it would actually be worth more as a trade-in than I would pay for it in cash. So it would be a safe investment. But the gold top Epiphone does everything it does. It's got the big fat neck that I like. It's got the vintage style tuners that I really like. It's got the same controls, same construction. Obviously the wood is way better on the Gibson. The paint is nitrocellulose instead of poly. It's gonna hold its value better. But I don't need it. It won't do anything for me. I mean, let's go through each of the questions. Does it do something that my Epiphone doesn't do? Probably not. Pickups might be a little better, but it'll feel a lot better. It'll be made a lot better. Better materials, better components. But a good Les Paul is a good Les Paul. And that gold top is a good Les Paul for me. Not as good as a Gibson, but so that's question 1. Question 2, will it look better on stage? It's debatable. Most people won't notice. Other guitarists will, and I will. I think the gold top is a classic look. This other one that I like is red. It's a plain top red. So, not really. Will it make you play better? Big question mark. I'll be more confident knowing that that is a master-crafted instrument. On the other hand, the thing about the Epiphone is I can thrash it, hit it really hard, play it really hard, and not worry about it as much because it's an Epiphone. So I might actually play better with the Epiphone than I would with the Gibson, right? Now, I want you to keep something in mind here. There are a lot of people that tell me because of my Gibson videos that I'm like some Gibson fanboy or something. And obviously I'm not, because I'm talking about choosing an Epiphone over a Gibson right now. So that's what it is. I talked recently in a recent video about how I modded a guitar and regretted it, and it let the genie out of the bottle and the soul escaped, and it lost its mojo, right? And it almost seems like if you've got something with mojo that's close to you that you love, don't get another guitar until you need something that does what it doesn't do. For example, if I found a Fender 6, I'd probably buy it at a good price. I'd probably buy it because I don't have anything like that. A good baritone, I'd probably buy it. You know, there are certain styles of guitars I just don't have that I would buy in a heartbeat. Something with a Bigsby, maybe I'd do that. But you have to ask yourself that question. I think we all, and this isn't just with guitars, in our lives, we really need to hold on to the things that we have. And we really have to appreciate them. And we have to ask ourselves why things are our favorite, right? Why is this junker right here my favorite? It's because it's made of everything that I love. I made it to my specifications myself. You can do it too. I didn't take a saw and cut out the body. I didn't saw and shape the neck. I didn't install the frets. I didn't build it in that sense, but I put it together. Anyone can do that. And in this guitar, I have less than I'd have in a brand new Fender. Why do I like it? Because it has the components I like and it feels good. Why do I like the Epiphone Les Paul Standard? Because I like the way that the neck feels, the pickups sound great, it's easy to play, and I like the way it looks. So, next time you think about buying a new guitar, appreciate the ones that you have. Before you go buy a new guitar, pick up your favorite guitar, plug it into your favorite amp, and play it. And as you're playing that guitar, I want you to ask yourself, how much will I play this one I'm about to buy? Will it feel as good as this? Will it sound as good as this? Will I connect with it as much as this? Will I develop the same sentimentality as I do with this? And the same goes for amps. I have this. This is a 5150 Iconic 15 watt. And I have an opportunity to buy an original block letter 5150 at my local shop. And we put together, me and the shop owner, this elaborate trade where I had all these things I was going to trade him for this amp. Because it's a block letter 5150, for God's sake. So like, man, that's pretty great. You know, that's like a white whale for a lot of people. It is for me. But before I went to go do the trade, I came in here, I sat down, I hooked this up, plugged it into my cab, plugged my favorite guitar into it, and I couldn't put it down. I was out here for an hour and a half just playing. And after I turned the amp off and let the tubes cool down, I thought, I don't need the block letter 5150. Because I had so much fun with this one. It should not be as good as it is. With this guitar that should not be as good as it is. The mojo and the soul and the fun cannot be replaced. Get the very best of the best amp and the very best of the best guitar and you plug them in together. All of a sudden, you have this expectation of perfection immediately. Your skills and how you play that day notwithstanding, it ought to sound perfect because there's no longer an excuse. And that's empowering for you as a player. It can make you a better player to have that stuff because then you don't have an excuse. You really don't. But on the other hand, in my experience, it kind of sterilizes the whole experience of playing the guitar. Taking a guitar that should not be as good as it is, plugging it into an amp that should not be as good as it is, take it further, plug it into a cab that should not be as good as it is. This is an MG 412 cab. It's like a midget cab with MG China speakers in it. You put those three things together and make it sound good, there's a sense of pride that you feel with that. You cannot replicate that with top-of-the-line stuff. So before you go trade the farm for that one thing, before you go take all of your things that you have, all of your mediocre things, trade them all for one really good thing, I want you to ask yourself, is there magic in that gear? And if there is, do not make that trade. Do not buy another guitar. And be thankful for the one that you have. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all of you. Please like and subscribe. Please join the Discord if you haven't already. We talk about guitar gear, etc. Everything in there all day long. This topic and more. We talk about, hey, in fact, there was a guy today who messed up the tone pot on his guitar. He didn't know what to do, so we're trying to help him figure that out right now. So, stuff like that. It's really fun. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I appreciate all of you. See you next time, and keep on rocking.